The purpose of our immigration system is for the benefit of American citizens, not foreigners or anybody else. Why are our Democrat colleagues so determined to flood our country with millions of illegal aliens? And I'd like to suggest that perhaps it's because they benefit from it politically.
Just let that sink in for a second. The purpose of our immigration system is for the benefit of American citizens. How is that a controversial statement? It's not. It's the simple common sense truth. Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in. You just saw the opening shot from what I think is one of the most important congressional exchanges I've seen in a long time. Congressman Brandon Gill just laid down the absolute truth, and what you're about to see is the wild, confusing, and honestly bizarre argument that came right back at him from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. We are going to watch the whole thing, and I'm going to break down exactly what's happening here, because they are trying to pull a fast one on the American people, and Jill wasn't having it. This is the kind of video you need to see. So do me a favor. If you believe in common sense and protecting our country, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell. You do not want to miss the breakdown on this. All right, let's watch the full clip. This is a big one.
I feel as if my colleagues from across the aisle have decided that they are going to make immigrants the boogeyman. It's insanity to me, but they also are showing compassion for victims, which they should, but they have no compassion for people that are contributing to making us great in this country. So, interestingly enough, I'm curious to know, Mr. Beer, if you know if immigrants contributed to these particular crimes. There was a mass shooting in Buffalo, New York that killed a number of African Americans as they were trying to shop for groceries. Was the defendant an immigrant in that case? Do you know?
No, he was a U.S.-born citizen.
Thank you so much. Charleston, South Carolina, there were black churchgoers trying to praise the Lord. They were killed. Was that an immigrant that perpetrated that or not?
No, that was a U.S.-born citizen.
Thank you so much. Now, coming home to Texas, there was an El Paso shooting. Do you know if that was an immigrant or not?
No, they were targeting immigrants in that case.
In fact, each of these cases, it was white supremacists. And so the last unanimous consent that I'd asked for is this article that states that white supremacists behind over 80% of extremism-related U.S. murders in 2022.
Without objection.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing excites me more than the thought of President Trump initiating the largest deportation operation in American history. I'd like to remind the committee that the purpose of our immigration system is for the benefit of American citizens, not foreigners or anybody else. For the past 4 years, Democrats have facilitated the invasion of over 10 million illegal aliens into our country. Open borders grow the welfare state, they depress American wages, strain our education and healthcare system, price our working class out of owning a home, and flood our communities with violence and drugs. Mr. Beer, and as well as my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, you're intellectualizing about illegal alien crime notwithstanding. I'd like to remind you that the correct number of American citizens murdered or by illegal aliens is 0. Americans have learned firsthand that importing the third world will turn America into the third world. So in light of the chaos of the past 4 years, the question that has come up earlier is, why are our Democrat colleagues so determined to flood our country with millions of illegal aliens? And I'd like to suggest that perhaps it's because they benefit from it politically. Remember that every state is apportioned congressional seats based on population, not based on citizenship. Counting non-citizens in congressional apportionment has resulted in more seats for blue states and fewer congressional seats for red states. For instance, excluding non-citizens, California, would have an estimated 3 fewer congressional seats. In Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, traditionally red states, would each have an estimated 1 additional seat. Right now, in a political environment where Republicans have a 2-seat majority in the House of Representatives, the presence of millions of illegal aliens in America could quite literally change the balance of power in our country.
The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
The ultimate goal of mass illegal immigration is mass amnesty and citizenship for illegal aliens, which of course means ultimately allowing them to vote. And that's not a conspiracy theory either. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer himself said it just 2 years ago, and I'm quoting him, "Our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million, or however many undocumented there are here." That is their words, not mine. And it appears that for the past 4 years, providing a path to citizenship for illegal aliens is precisely what the Biden administration has been doing.
All right, so you just saw the whole thing. My mind is completely blown right now. Let's unpack this, because a lot happened, and the deflection from Representative Crockett was just off the charts. So, let's get right into it. She starts her argument by accusing Gill and other Republicans of making immigrants the boogeyman and having selective compassion. Okay, fine. But then she goes into this really, really strange line of questioning. She brings up the horrific, tragic, and evil mass shootings in Buffalo, Charleston, and El Paso. And she asks the witness, was the shooter an immigrant? The witness, of course, has to say, no, he was a US-born citizen. And she has this aha moment, connecting it all to white supremacy. My reaction to that is, what? What in the world does that have to do with the topic at hand? We are talking about illegal immigration. The fact that we have homegrown evil criminals in our country is a tragedy we have to deal with. But that is not an argument for just opening the floodgates and importing more potential crime and chaos from all over the world. That's like saying, hey, my house is already on fire in the kitchen, so I might as well light a fire in the living room too. It makes zero sense. It's a complete deflection from the real issue. And notice the word games. I said it, and Brandon Gill was very specific about it. Illegal immigration. He's talking about the 10 million people who crossed the border, the invasion, as he rightfully calls it. He's not talking about legal immigrants who came here the right way, who followed the rules, and who love this country. But Representative Crockett keeps using the general broad term, immigrants. Why? It's a cheap rhetorical trick. She's trying to paint Gill and anyone who wants a secure border as some kind of anti-immigrant bigot. It's dishonest, and it's done on purpose to shut down the conversation. But this is where Brandon Gill just shines. He doesn't take the bait. He doesn't get emotional. He just brings it right back to the facts. He cuts right through all that noise and says, hey, this is having a real impact on our country. It's straining our welfare state. It's depressing American wages. It's straining our schools and hospitals. These are real-world consequences for American citizens. That's not a boogeyman, that's the reality. But this is the most important part of the entire video. This is the part they really don't want you to hear. Gill explains why they're doing this. He asks the question, why are they so determined to flood the country? And he gives the answer, it's political. He points out that congressional seats, the very power they have in Washington, D.C., are given out based on total population, not just the number of citizens. Think about that for a second. A state like California gets more seats in Congress, more electoral votes, and more power because they have millions of non-citizens, including illegal immigrants, counted in their population. Meanwhile, a state like Ohio, Pennsylvania, or West Virginia loses power. It's a system that actively rewards the states that have failed to control the border. And just in case you were thinking, oh, that sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, they rolled the tape. They show the clip of Senator Chuck Schumer himself. What does he say? Our ultimate goal is to get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are. He said it out loud. Brandon Gill even calls this out. He says, That's not a conspiracy theory. And then he quotes Schumer word for word. He is using their own words against them. It's a brilliant, airtight argument. And that Pennsylvania example from the video is just perfect. Trump wins the state by about 120,000 votes. But wait, there are 150,000 illegal immigrants living in that same state. So what happens when those 150,000 people are given that path to citizenship that Schumer wants? What happens when they get the right to vote, which you know is the final step? Poof, Pennsylvania flips. It's gone, permanently. That is the ballgame, folks. This isn't about compassion. It's about securing a permanent political majority. It's about changing the entire electorate so they can stay in power forever. This is exactly what Brandon Gill was exposing. He's not being hateful. He's not attacking immigrants. He is defending American citizens and pointing out a fundamental, corrupting threat to our entire system of democracy. He was focused, he was logical, and he refused to fall for the emotional traps. He just laid out the cold, hard truth. What do you guys think? Did Crockett's argument make a lick of sense to you? Or did Brandon Gill hit the nail right on the head? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I want to hear from you.